I don't. Yes, and so I'm having Ottawa just told you that Main Street was quite full.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I think I'm one.
Just to see what we have on tape. I know we have one moment that's definitely on tape. You think?
I don't get people, man. I leave my phone on
We've
silent
got
all
for
the time.
10 days and no phones available in the middle of it. So.
Maybe that guy right there. I always leave my phone on silent. Like I just turn it off. Like the office phone. I miss it.
Good.
Sorry.
See ya.
He'll speak first, right?
He normally makes a break. He'll probably.
So if you don't mind, let me just stand there because I know she's fire us. Right? Rather get a fire, but I'm just shooting bids.
I'll probably just stand back here
Yeah,
when he's going.
I pulled this back and they said no, because we're gonna have a camera shooting this, and they want to see who's speaking.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's sure.
Yeah, the cutaways.
I just didn't want somebody banging.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. I might argue that I think you'd much rather talk about SNC because in Quebec, because again, it's a bother. Those other things were very I'm not going to report that, but
Check it. I just
so I mean, see your point. I'll see that I can work in. Just that that's a lot to fit into it.
Where you from?
I think on like so that what I want to do is where does the campaign go?
Wait till you see the routine that we're going to do.
Oh, really? So you didn't have to drive across the city?
No, I live like that way,
Okay.
5 minutes, and then I used to, when I was a kid, I used to live 5 minutes like this way. So and I drove so many times in my life.
She just wants, to have a look and make sure.
A lot of hotel and
Probably never will be again.
yeah.
At least for a whole bunch of people who sleep in
Yeah.
so that's where I want to. Thank you.
So happy.
Yeah, it's probably about 1 minute delay, so that's why she hasn't seen it yet. But I think that'll be fine for her.
Saskatoon, and that was like all in
Did everyone get a mic check? You all have levels? Sure, okay. I might as well do that while I'm up here. We're also just trying to see the contrast with the human backdrop here. It's lovely to be in Toronto. This has been quite the campaign tour, and see a lot of folks here from Ottawa and some local folks from Toronto. It's a good little mix. We've got quite a lot of light on us right now. We're about 70-foot candles here at the podium, and probably about 40 back in the backdrop there. Probably about 10 minutes out. Yeah, you could say that. You could say 10 minutes. We'll see the human backdrop come in, then we know we're really close. I just got my first coffee of the day. That's exciting news.
Check 1 2, check 1 2, Q&A mic.
Yes,
Hey,
Q&A
hey.
mic. You
1
have a
2.
question, sir?
I do have a question, and the question is being delivered now.
Yes.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You can hear me okay up there?
Absolutely. It sounds amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
I'm really proud to be able to be here in Essex, but we've got a great team, and they fight hard for you. So in case you've had any doubts about it, let it be known. They never let me forget about the place where I grew up, and they make sure that the issues and the concerns of this community is always heard. I want to talk today about something that's very near and dear to Canadians. We're all very proud of our healthcare system, but we know more and more it's getting hard to get the services that we need. You know, here in Essex and in Windsor, it's something that people talk about often. The fact that when their loved ones are sick, they're worried about the care that they get. And this is not a coincidence. We've gotten to this position because of decisions that the government has made, that conservative governments and liberal governments have consistently chosen to help those at the very top and make their life easier, and it's made it harder for everyone else, and people have paid the price. I want to talk about one thing in specific. It's the cost of medication. And this is an example that is so clear where Mr. Trudeau has continued the tradition of making it easier for the people at the top, and that's made it directly harder for everyone else. The Liberal government promised national universal pharmacare since 1997. They promised it year after year after year, and they keep on breaking the promise. The Royal Commission that first stated that when we bring in universal health care, we also need to bring in universal pharmacare, announced universal pharmacare back in 1964. That was before I was even born.
Wow.
And again, we're seeing broken promise after broken promise. And I always wonder, why is it that Mr. Trudeau continues the same tradition of breaking these promises? Well, we've got clear evidence why. Back in 2015, Mr. Trudeau campaigned on a simple change that would have dropped the cost of medication by up to 20%. Just changing the list of countries that we compare to when setting prices. And he promised to do that, but 4 years later, he failed to deliver. And now, on the eve of an election, he's making that promise again. But why is it that over the 4 years he broke that promise? Well, guess how many times he met with big pharmacare, big pharma industry, and big insurance companies? Over 850 times.
Unreal.
In 4 years, he met with big pharma and insurance company lobbyists over 850 times, and that's meanwhile he's ended.
I bought it. These are they're broken them in now, but I had to break them in. More on a brutal one, so. I think it was him. Cool. That's interesting.
Here come candidates.
So I actually beat him by 5-3.
Well, I know it's really frustrating.
Oh, he said Billy was coming.
Right in front of you.
What do you do with that? interesting.
We're here. Yes, good. Yeah, I'm fine.
He's still the chief.
That was the last time I was in the front row. My glasses on so I can see what it is. Yes. But in fairness, why did you do
But slowly we're winning over. Our listeners talk about Western ones. No, no, you had very good.
Like 15 minutes per question. Seems fair.
It's because Rock said, this is Logan and I had to.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be back in Toronto with so many outstanding members of our Liberal team. They've been true advocates for their community these last 4 years, helping us bring about real change for the middle class and building an economy that works for everyone. I'm very much looking forward to continuing the work we've started together after Election Day. But first, we all have a very important choice to make. On October 21st, we get to decide what kind of future we want to build together. We get to choose the kind of country we want our kids to grow up in. En 2015, les Canadiens en avaient assez du gouvernement de Stephen Harper qui pensait que l'austérité et les coupures étaient la réponse à tout. C'était évident que les politiques des conservateurs ne fonctionnaient pas. La croissance de l'économie, la création d'emplois, la croissance des salaires, rien de tout ça ne bougeait. 4 years ago, Canadians chose a new team with a new approach, a team with a clear vision of the kind of Canada they wanted to build. A Canada that is fairer, safer, and more prosperous for all Canadians. 4 years later, we still have a lot of work to do, but we've moved forward from the policies of the Harper years, and we've got the record to prove it. Poverty is way down. Unemployment is at historic lows. And job creation is way up. And it's because our team rejected conservative cuts and austerity. Because we chose to put people first. We stopped sending child benefit checks to millionaires so we could send more to the single parent working 2 jobs and to the family of 5 that still has trouble making ends meet at the end of the month. On a mis plus d'argent dans les poches des Canadiens en baissant les impôts de la classe moyenne et en augmentant ceux du 1% les plus riches. Et on a réalisé des investissements sans précédent dans les infrastructures, que ce soit le transport, le logement abordable ou les infrastructures résistantes au climat. Ce sont des investissements qui font une vraie différence dans la vie des gens. Et cet automne, les Canadiens auront encore une fois une chance de voter pour le genre de Canada dans lequel ils veulent vivre. You know, I've been on the campaign trail for a little over a week now, and I've been to every province. Everywhere I go, I talk about the progress we've made, the solutions we've built, and the people we've helped. I talked about the change we delivered, real change. But as I stand here today, I think of the thousands of families who've lost a loved one to gun violence during those same 4 years. On the issue of guns, one thing I can say is that not enough has changed. Don't get me wrong, we did take meaningful steps to address gun violence. Stephen Harper made it easier to purchase and transfer a weapon. We reversed that. We started requiring firearm retailers to conduct more extensive background checks, something the Conservative leader plans to scrap if he's elected. But as long as Canadians are losing their loved ones to gun violence, not enough has changed. Not for the teenager who was murdered in Mississauga on Sunday. Not for the man who was shot in Calgary on Monday. Not for the parent who buried their child, not for the little brother or sister who's been left behind. In 2017, there were 2,500 more victims of gun violence in Canada than in 2013. 2,500. The Conservative leader looks at those numbers and still thinks it should be easier for people to buy a gun. He has vowed to gut Canada's gun control law. He wants to loosen restrictions on assault weapons. He wants to scrap enhanced background checks. And he wants people to be able to buy a gun without ever even showing their license to own it. Gun crime in Canada is on the rise. It's a fact. Frankly, I don't understand how anyone could look at this alarming trend and conclude that we need less gun control. But that's for the Conservative leaders to explain to Canadians. Here's what we will do to end gun violence. We will ban military-style assault rifles, and start a buyback program for all military-grade weapons that were legally purchased. And we will work with the provinces and territories to enable municipalities to restrict handguns. That's what a re-elected Liberal government will do. But I'll also tell you what we won't do. We will not bring back the long gun registry, and we will continue to respect Canadian farmers and hunters. But we know you do not need a military-grade assault weapon, one designed to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time, to take down a deer. Un gouvernement libéral réélu va aussi prendre des mesures pour s'attaquer à la violence fondée sur le sexe et la violence familiale. On va travailler avec les provinces et les territoires pour adopter une loi qui permettrait de suspendre temporairement les permis d'armes à feu de ceux qui posent un danger à eux-mêmes ou à leurs proches. On va également exiger que les gens qui importent des munitions présentent un permis d'armes à feu validé. On va resserrer les lois sur l'entreposage des armes à feu pour empêcher que les armes obtenues de façon légale se retrouvent dans les mains des criminels. Et on va limiter la glorification de la violence en créant des nouveaux règlements sur la publicité, la commercialisation et la vente d'armes à feu. It's time to end gun violence in Canada, and that's what a re-elected Liberal government will strive to do. I've often said that politics is about people. And on this particular issue, here's the hard truth. People are dying. Families are grieving. Communities are suffering. So we're going to do more, and we're going to do better. Thoughts and prayers are just not going to cut it. The choice could not be clearer. Liberals are for tougher gun laws. Conservatives are for weaker gun laws. That's the difference between forward and backwards. And that's what choosing forward means. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
Hi, Michelle Zilio with the Globe and Mail. If you could answer in English and French, that would be appreciated for my colleagues. The vast majority of handguns used in crimes in Toronto come from outside the city. In fact, the Danforth handgun came from Saskatchewan. A municipal ban would do little to stop the flow of these domestic guns into the city. So my question is, why aren't the Liberals willing to have a countrywide ban on handguns?
We are moving forward on an approach that is going to work to keep our communities safer. We know that banning military-style assault weapons is an important step in keeping Canadians safe, and strengthening the safe storage laws for legal handgun owners is going to be extremely important as well to prevent legally purchased firearms and handguns from ending up in criminal hands. But we've also heard very clearly from a number of cities like Toronto and others who've said that they want more tools to restrict handguns within their municipalities. And that's why we are going to work with them and work with provinces and territories to give them the power to do just that. Nous reconnaissons qu'on a besoin de protéger les Canadiens et nos communautés de la violence avec les armes à feu. C'est pour ça qu'on fait l'annonce aujourd'hui pour bannir les armes d'assaut et pour permettre aux municipalités et aux villes de restreindre les armes de poing. Nous savons qu'il y a des mesures qu'on fait qui vont renforcer la sécurité, empêcher des armes achetées de façon légale d'être volées par des criminels. Mais nous avons aussi entendu de plusieurs grandes villes, dont Toronto et Montréal, qui voudraient avoir plus d'outils pour restreindre les armes de poing. Et donc, nous allons travailler avec eux et avec les provinces et territoires pour leur donner les outils pour faire exactement ça.
Tom Parry with CBC News. If I can get you to answer in English and French as well. There are already strict limits on who can own an AR-15 or a weapon like that. There are limits on the size of the magazine you can have for this weapon. So what's the justification for banning it outright? And on your buyback program, what happens if someone doesn't want to sell you their weapon? Are you not turning law-abiding gun owners into criminals?
We recognize that there's always going to be more to do on protecting citizens and communities from gun violence. That's why we're moving forward on banning assault weapons and enabling cities to ban, to restrict handguns. We believe that the choice is very clear. Liberals want to strengthen gun control. Conservatives want to weaken it. Conservative leaders talked about expanding the size of magazines available. We think that's a step in exactly the wrong direction. The Conservatives want to loosen gun laws. We want to strengthen them. We know that guns designed for killing the largest amount of people in the shortest amount of time have no place in Canadian society, have no place in our communities. That is why we are banning military-style assault weapons.
Monsieur Trudeau, pourquoi vous ne bannissez pas simplement les armes de poing au pays? Pourquoi vous laissez ça aux villes? Ça veut dire qu'ici, il pourrait ne pas y en avoir, dans d'autres villes, il pourrait en avoir. On pourrait aller en achetant en Saskatchewan et venir faire une fusillade ici, comme ça s'est vu à Danford. Pourquoi vous ne faites pas simplement les interdire partout?
On comprend que l'approche doit toujours être mesurée et basée sur les faits. C'est pour ça que nous entendons les villes qui veulent restreindre et bannir les armes de poing dans leur ville, et nous allons permettre et donner les outils aux provinces, aux territoires et aux villes d'avancer avec cela. Mais pour la vaste majorité de propriétaires d'armes de poing, nous allons pour les propriétaires d'armes de poing, nous allons renforcer les règlements autour de l'entreposage, le remisage et la sécurité de ces armes à feu pour s'assurer que moins de criminels puissent voler des armes à des propriétaires d'armes à feu.
David Aiken, Global News. Thank you for all the time you gave us yesterday on the blackface, brownface issue. Just one last quick cleaning up. We know the context for the Arabian Nights event. We know the context for the high school event, sort of performances or festival. What about the video? Why did you do that? What was the context in which you decided to put on the blackface there? What were you doing? Did you remember that one? And can you tell us where that happened?
It was a costume day for river guides on the whitewater rafting in the whitewater rafting operation that I worked at in the summer of between '92 and '94, roughly. Okay. Cet incident-là s'est passé pendant l'été de 92 à 94, quand je travaillais en tant que guide de rivière sur la rivière Rouge au Québec. C'était une journée de déguisement.
Good morning, Mr. Trudeau. Teresa Wright from the Canadian Press. U.S. President Donald Trump has said this morning that he was surprised to see images of you wearing blackface, and particularly at the number of times that you wore it. What kind of an impact do you think that this is going to have on your international reputation, and how do you think it'll affect your credibility as a world leader?
My focus is on Canadians who face discrimination every day, Canadians who are racialized, who live with intolerance and marginalization as part of their daily experience, who I hurt. People who, in many cases, considered me to be an ally, who are deeply hurt by the terrible choices I made many years ago. I apologize deeply to them, and I will focus on continuing what I have tried to do as a leader, which is always stand against racism and discrimination at home and on the world stage. Mon emphase aujourd'hui et à tous les jours sera sur les Canadiens minoritaires qui se font discriminer à cause de leur identité à tous les jours. Des gens qui vivent de l'intolérance comme quelque chose de régulier, que j'ai blessé avec mes choix du passé. Je m'en excuse profondément et je m'engage à continuer d'être un allié et de continuer à travailler contre l'intolérance et la discrimination ici au Canada et partout dans le monde.
Prime Minister, good morning. David Youngren from Reuters. Your MPs are unhappy, your candidates are unhappy, there are members of your cabinet who are not particularly happy, and some members of the cabinet table who sit around you have issued long and I would say philosophical statements. Others, such as your foreign minister, issued a fairly clipped 3-paragraph statement yesterday. How secure do you feel in your leadership in the days and the months and days, weeks and months to come?
I'm going to continue to stay focused on working hard for a better Canada. And I know that there are Canadians, many, many Canadians, that I have deeply hurt with the choices I made. And I am going to work very, very hard to demonstrate that as an individual and as a leader, I will continue to stand against intolerance and racism. I will continue to stand alongside them as an ally as we strive to build a better world. I let them down. I let a lot of people down, and I am deeply sorry for that.
Glenn McGregor, CTV News. Mr. Trudeau, all over the world today, people are out on the streets demonstrating about climate change. Without going into a recap of what you've done so far, I'd like to know, if you are reelected, what new initiatives, what new things would you do to reduce emissions?
I want to begin by celebrating those young people who are taking to the streets around the world to highlight that this is their future, this is our future we are talking about, and we need to continue to step up in the fight against climate change here at home, across Canada, and around the world. That's exactly what we're going to do. We will have a lot more to say in the coming days and weeks, but you can rest assured that we will continue in our ambition and our determination to fight climate change and support Canadians through this change in our economy, in our world, as we protect our environment and create a better future for our kids and grandkids. Je veux célébrer aujourd'hui ces jeunes qui démontrent du leadership, qui démontrent qu'ils veulent prendre action, qu'ils veulent qu'on continue dans la lutte contre les changements climatiques ici au Canada et partout dans le monde. Nous allons avoir des annonces ambitieuses pour continuer notre travail dans la lutte contre les changements climatiques. On a déjà fait plus que n'importe quel autre gouvernement pour protéger l'environnement et contrer les changements climatiques, mais on entend très clairement ces jeunes et ces gens d'à travers le pays qui nous disent qu'on doit en faire plus et on va en faire plus, et j'ai hâte aux annonces qu'on va faire là-dessus.
Hi, Mr. Trudeau. David Cochran with CBC News. We've just learned that your campaign director has reached out to Jagmeet Singh's campaign director to arrange a conversation between the leaders, possibly. What do you want to say to Mr. Singh after the events of the last several days?
I will be apologizing to him personally as a racialized Canadian, as I have been apologizing to Canadians who have suffered discrimination and intolerance their entire lives in ways that some of us, like me, have never had to experience on a daily basis. This is an incident for which I am deeply sorry, and I have apologized to Canadians, but I have also pledged to continue to work with all Canadians in the fight against Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, anti-Black racism, racism and intolerance in all its shapes and forms. And on that, I am certainly in deep agreement with Mr. Singh, and I look forward to having a good conversation with him. Je vais certainement partager avec M. Singh les excuses que je partage avec et que j'offre à tous les Canadiens qui vivent la discrimination à tous les jours, que j'ai blessés par mes actions. Et on va certainement parler de comment je peux et un gouvernement peut continuer à lutter contre la discrimination à tous les jours et protéger et donner plus d'opportunités aux Canadiens qui vivent de la discrimination à cause de leur identité.
Lucas Meyer, News Talk 1010. Prime Minister, will you confirm, la presse is reporting that according to a high-ranking Liberal official that the campaign, the Liberals are expecting more photos to come out. Will you confirm that?
I have nothing to confirm on that.
So there could be more?
I have nothing to confirm on that.
And just really quickly on guns, can you talk, the mayor has talked a lot about stopping smuggling at the border. What are going to be the actions on there?
We are going to, we have taken significant measures to strengthen our border controls. The Conservatives cut the Canada Border Services Agency in their 10 years in office. We have invested massively in securing our border to an increasing degree, and we will have more to say about our plans on that. Today, our announcement is on how we're going to be banning military-style assault weapons and working with municipalities to restrict handguns. We recognize that there is more to do. That's why Liberals believe in strengthening gun control, while Conservatives believe in weakening it. Nous avons pris plusieurs mesures au cours des 4 dernières années pour donner plus de ressources et plus de capacités à protéger nos frontières des armes à feu illégaux qui traversent. Mais nous reconnaissons qu'il y a plus à faire et on va avoir d'autres annonces à faire là-dessus. Aujourd'hui, notre annonce, c'est qu'on est en train de... on va bannir les armes d'assaut et travailler avec les